Hello and welcome to this episode of That's Interesting. I'm your host, Frank Hart. This show explores things that I find interesting. I hope that you find them interesting too. The guest on this show is Rick Doane. Rick is the Executive Director of Interfaith Social Services in Quincy, Massachusetts. Welcome to the show, Rick.
Thanks.
Glad you're here.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, great. Yeah, well, what we always like to do when we start off is tell us a little bit about yourself, tell us a little bit about Interfaith Social Services.
Sure. So my family's been in Massachusetts since 1630. So we're local.
Yeah.
My mom's from Quincy, dad's from Duxbury. I grew up in Weymouth, so I'm local.
Yeah.
But my wife was born in Brazil, but she's from Peru. So we speak Spanish, and I was a missionary in Brazil for 2 years.
Okay.
And so we speak Spanish and Portuguese and English in our home.
Wow.
So that's a little bit about me. And Interfaith actually has been here in Quincy since 1947. So we were founded when there was a huge community need, because after World War II, the shipyards were actually laying off thousands of people, because they didn't need them to work in the shipyards anymore. And at the same time, you had, after the war, all the soldiers would come home looking for jobs. There was a crisis, and that's what formed what would be called Interfaith Social Services. And the idea is to help local children and families in need. And that's what we've been doing for almost 80 years.
Great program. Great program.
Thanks.
Yeah. So we had a few of the things that we just covered quickly: food pantry, thrift shop, counseling, and homeless prevention.
Yeah, those are our programs. And those have all grown out of what we do over the last 80 years. So it was like when we were founded in 1947, the idea was to help children and families in need. And the way that has looked over the years has changed. But our oldest program is our mental health counseling center.
Oh, yeah.
And so everything we do kind of grew out of that. It was during the 70s that the therapists, heard kind of about a need for food. People needed food. And at that point, food pantries didn't exist. The structure that you see today in food pantries throughout the country, it was only, ours was 1974, our food pantry opened. The first food pantry in the United States opened just 3 years earlier in Arizona.
Oh, wow, yeah.
So Quincy was actually the 14th city in the United States to have a food pantry, and that's Interfaith Social Services.
Wow, yeah.
So that grew out of our counseling center because the therapists heard about that need, started a little food closet that grew into one of the largest emergency food programs in the state. And then we operate our homelessness prevention program, and that grew out of our counseling center as well.
Okay.
In the 90s, the therapists were hearing about the need for rental assistance, eviction prevention, and that's when we started that homelessness prevention program. And then we have our retail thrift shop here in Quincy, and that supports all of our other programs. So all the sales in that shop help to support the food pantry, counseling center, and homelessness prevention.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of stuff you have going on.
It is. We got 175 volunteers making it happen.
Yeah. The big thing we wanted to talk about today that you wanted to talk about too is your food rescue program. So we can go into a lot of details on that. So just start off telling us about that.
Sure. So, when people think about food pantries, most of the times they think about school drives or a church doing a food drive. That's sort of the image they have in their mind of those shelf-stable items being donated to food pantries. Now, the reality of the situation is, when we ask our clients, and we asked 1,000 households, what do you like, what don't you like? And across ethnicities and demographics, people said they wanted fresh produce, fresh fruits, fresh vegetables, milk, eggs, meat. Basic, real food.
Right, yep.
Nobody wanted canned goods. I mean, with the exception of maybe some beans, but especially vegetables and other items, nobody wants those. Our food pantry clients are saying, we're not eating this. And when I ask other people, I'm like, what are you guys eating? When's the last time you opened a can of peas?
Yeah, yeah.
And they're like, oh, well, my mom always did when I was a kid. But people aren't consuming food that way. And we want to give our clients dignity. We want to provide them with the food that they want. And that meant less canned goods. And so we focus on purchasing a lot of those other items. But even before that, our food that we have in our food pantry, if you look at the amount that comes from school food drives and church food drives, it accounts for less than 5%
Well, that's small.
of
yeah.
our total food.
Yeah.
And so we are grateful for all of that food that gets donated, especially the pasta, rice, cereal, and tomato sauce. Those are things we really want.
Yep.
And our clients want. So that's 95% of the food that we distribute needs to come from somewhere else. And I think most people think that our food comes from those food drives. And it doesn't. The food comes from a lot of different places. And one of those is food rescue. And it accounts at Interfaith for half of the food we distribute. So almost 500,000 pounds of food a year is coming from food rescue.
You distribute that much, 500,000 pounds a year?
We're distributing over 1 million pounds of food every year
Yeah.
through our food pantry.
Wow.
So we're serving upwards of 2,000 households, unique households every single month.
Do you go beyond the Quincy area that is distributed? Or?
So we serve 10 towns on the South Shore. Quincy, Weymouth, Braintree, and Randolph are the top towns we serve.
Okay.
But over 80% of our clients come from Quincy. So it's the majority because that's where we're located. But also, if you look at population density, it sort of follows those trends too.
Okay.
And demographics. So we have 1 million pounds of food to distribute. Half of that comes from the Greater Boston Food Bank in Boston. And we go to the Greater Boston Food Bank, and people think that's all free food.
Yeah.
And part of it comes from food that the state of Massachusetts purchases. And then we're able to get that food for free. Part of it is the federal government sending USDA food that we can get for free. But the Greater Boston Food Bank is purchasing, at wholesale, large amounts of food, and then they pass that along to us, that savings, but we still spend hundreds of thousands of dollars a year at the Greater Boston Food Bank purchasing all that food.
Yeah.
And that's for 500,000 pounds. So where's that other half? That other 500,000 pounds of food is rescue. And when I tell that to people, they're like, what does that mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Where are you rescuing it from? Who is attacking this food that it needs to be saved? And even our logo on our truck, people have seen it driving around. It says food rescue. And it looks like a little ambulance with an apple,
Yeah.
and it's salvage food. So this is food that is perfectly good that supermarkets would have thrown away otherwise.
Yeah.
And we go and rescue it, bring it back, and give it out to our clients.
You brought a bunch of pictures that we showed today, Rick. So maybe we can start popping some of them up now. And
So this is our drivers, Jeff and Drayton, unloading some of the food from our truck. And you can see the logo right there on the side of the truck that has the little apple, food rescue. But this food, so you guys can go through the photos and I can talk about how the food is used. Because Drayton and Jeff are on the road. It comes in, that's the Lebos. They're two of our volunteers unloading the truck. That's food that came in from a supermarket. So that is food. When you go to the supermarket and you're picking up food, and there's some meat, and it says best by 1 week from now, or best by 3 days from now, which are you going to get?
Oh, definitely the 1 week. Yeah.
Right. That's what all consumers do.
Yeah.
That food that has a best by date of 2 to 3 days is perfectly good. There's nothing wrong with it. But it has to be sorted. So this is one of our volunteers who's going through, and those are banana boxes.
Yep.
Banana boxes are the main delivery mechanism for rescued food. So when you see us unloading hundreds of banana boxes, they're not full of bananas. They're full of meat. They're full of rotisserie chicken, bread, pastries, cakes, so many different things. Because supermarkets, if that food that says that meat, that hamburger, that would have been best by 3 days from now, they throw it in the freezer. It preserves it. We go in every couple days and we rescue it.
Oh, okay.
And we get that meat. It goes into our freezer. Clients come in and the volunteers put bags together and then it goes right out to our clients.
Interesting. Things you don't realize what's going on. Keep going, please.
So
this is fascinating.
The thing is, so fresh produce is one of the things that rarely gets donated that way. So the fresh produce that we have mostly needs to be purchased from wholesale distributors, or we get it from the Greater Boston Food Bank. And they're purchasing that with dollars from the state of Massachusetts, or they're purchasing it wholesale and they're passing along the savings to us. But fresh produce is such an important piece of what we do. And one of the things we encourage people to do, since we don't get that from the supermarkets, is for people to donate it.
Okay. Yep.
Most of the time, people will drop off bags of food for us. And sometimes the receipt will still be in the bag.
Yep.
Like they went to the supermarket, bought a couple bags of food, and brought it in, and it's a whole bunch of canned goods. Now, our food pantry is able to distribute food very quickly because of the volume that we're serving, where we're distributing every single day to clients. So if someone comes in with oranges in the afternoon on Monday, the next morning, those will all be distributed to our clients.
Now, you say distributed. Do you distribute it to themselves, or is this people coming in, or a little
So
of
these
both?
are clients coming in, and right now we don't have the facilities to allow them to shop on their own.
Okay.
But we're looking for a location in Quincy where we will be able to allow them to do that.
Bigger spot then.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they come in, and right now our volunteers are putting bags of food together and then bringing it out to the client's car.
Okay.
And we ask them, basic things. Are there dietary restrictions, things you don't, people say, oh, no chicken, please, or I'm diabetic, or, gluten-free, or whatever it is. And we take that into account when we put the orders together. But that's, that rescue piece, I forget where I was. So we were talking about...
Good question, yeah.
About produce. So encouraging people. So we work with Cohane Funeral Home, South Shore Food Bank, Holly Hill Farm in an initiative called Plant Grow Share, where we encourage backyard gardeners to grow produce and donate it to food pantries.
Yep.
Extra zucchini, extra tomato, extra cucumbers. Bring it into a food pantry, and people like Robin, that's one of our volunteers, Robin, she'll distribute that food right out to our clients. So the idea for a long time has always been a can drive. We're going to do a can drive.
Right, yeah.
Don't do a can drive, do a food drive. Collect apples and oranges and potatoes and onions, things that can sit for maybe a day or two while you get that together, and then bring it in and donate it to a food pantry. So that's one of the things that we really encourage. But the volume of people that we serve has grown so much that we have seen over the last 3-4 years, we have doubled the number of people we're serving through our food pantry.
In 3 or 4 years?
Yes.
Oh, that's, yeah.
So we're constantly looking for places to rescue. We rescue here in Quincy from BJ's, from 2 different Stop and Shops, from Star Market. We go down to Trader Joe's. We go to several other Stop and Shops. Anywhere, we're going to start picking up at Fresh Market down in Hingham soon.
Yep.
The way that people can really make an impact is by speaking with the store managers at these stores and asking them, where are you donating your food? Where is your rescue going to? This rotisserie chicken that doesn't get purchased today, what are you doing with it? We need consumers to hold these store managers accountable. And there are some store managers that are amazing. And they coordinate amazing donations. But it takes effort at their level. And some stores just really aren't invested. But we feel if people started asking more questions and encouraging them, and it was important to them, then maybe those stores would start coordinating more.
There was something I was reading on your website about a commercial food material disposal ban.
Yes.
Now, did that
That
helped
was
a lot? And
that was transformational.
yeah,
So the state of Massachusetts, and I don't recall the exact year, but they came out with a law that said no business can allow more than 1 ton of organic waste to enter the waste stream each week.
okay,
And they did it because, to save so that things aren't going, it's also the right thing to do.
right,
And they said, if you're disposing of food, you can either compost it or you can donate it. And so that has led to several businesses here in Massachusetts that are based around composting.
okay.
So you have more businesses that
Yep.
are collecting from places, but also it encouraged these businesses to start donating their food. Yeah.
Yeah. I would think that it'd be to their advantage to do one of those two things anyway. So they're probably doing something. So if we
Well,
can get them to donate rather than
it takes effort.
yeah, but
What's the return on investment? If a
True.
store, is it easier if for a store to save up that food,
yeah,
they need to sacrifice space to save it.
true,
They need to have systems in place. They need to pay their employees to put that food aside, or they could just throw it in the dumpster.
yeah,
It requires effort. And that's why some stores do it less than other stores, because
Okay.
it's just easier to throw it away. But it's not the right thing to do.
I'm gonna go back to
Yeah.
the ton a week. Who monitors that? Does the state actually monitor, or is it just so loose that
I don't know.
that they're doing whatever?
It was a law that was passed, and
Yeah.
so many businesses came up with policies, and we're grateful for them
Sure,
for doing it
yeah.
the right way.
Yeah.
But I think since there isn't as much enforcement, maybe, I wouldn't have anything against the state enforcing that, giving
Right.
out some tickets
Yeah,
to people
yeah.
who were doing it. But the thing that we worry a little bit about with food rescue is we benefit from supermarkets' inefficiency. So AI scares us a little bit,
Oh, yeah,
because if supermarkets use AI better and tighten up their inventory controls, then that would mean less waste for them and savings for them.
right,
But at the same time, they are able to write off on their taxes what they donate.
oh, yep,
So there is an incentive for them to do it too. You talk about why should they do it? Beyond it's the right thing, they get to write that off.
yep, yeah,
I've had lots of people ask me questions about, well, what isn't it, what can't I donate? When we talk about food, they think about like a backyard barbecue,
right,
and you got some leftover burgers. Nobody can take those.
okay,
We can't take them. Even like a caterer, when that food has been sitting out for hours and wasn't consumed,
yep,
we can't take it. At a food pantry, there are some restaurants that will bag up the food and label it and freeze it. We can take that
okay,
because we know the date, we know what it is. So we can take that food. But sometimes people will call us up and say, hey, we had a lunch at our office and a bunch of the food didn't get eaten.
yeah,
Can you guys take it? And we don't have a commercial kitchen.
right,
We
right.
can't bag that up. We don't know how long it's been out, and so we did actually, there was Arbella Insurance this year.
Okay,
They're one of our
yep.
closest partners.
Yep,
I think it was late December, they were going to have an office party, and they had ordered the food for their employees, and they had no heat in their building.
oh wow, yeah,
And so they directed that to us. And we were able to feed all of our staff and all of our volunteers. But in that situation, it was coming right from the restaurant
Yep,
because they couldn't
yeah.
cancel it anymore. And Arbella didn't want it to go to waste. And so they made sure it got to a good place. But a lot of times in those kind of situations, we would direct people to, the Yawkey Resource Center that Father Bill's in Mainspring runs, to a homeless shelter that is doing a congregant meal site where people are sitting down and eating, if it's coming right from the caterer to the location. If it's been sitting out for a while, nobody can really use it anymore. It's just, you don't know if that food is safe anymore.
Right, oh, definitely. Yeah.
But even if they do, there is federal legislation called Good Samaritan laws. If you donate food and it makes somebody sick, you can't get prosecuted. But that doesn't mean you should donate bad food. But people say, well, I don't know, And the other thing, too, when we talk about food rescue, we're talking larger scale supermarkets, packaged food, not individuals in their homes. If you have a half-eaten box of cereal, please give it to a neighbor or just throw it away, because a food pantry can't use a half-eaten box of cereal.
Yeah. Let's see if there's anything else here. Yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything on the food pantry that I had. You notice there's some of your volunteers are up on the screen now.
We have 175 volunteers, most of them from Quincy. Several of them are probably watching us right now, and they've probably seen themselves on the screen. Volunteers are the heart and soul of our organization. They're the lifeblood of what we do, and we couldn't survive without them. Because the way our model is structured is we have the food a lot of food pantries have the food coming in and they're putting it up on their shelves. Because we do so much food rescue, which not every food pantry does rescue at the level that we do.
Okay,
That food all has to be sorted. We have to check the dates on all of that bread, all of that yogurt, all of those things, so that if something is like 2 or 3 days beyond the best by date, then we feel it's not safe anymore to give out.
Okay.
So if it's when we have a criteria, a national criteria about food safety, but best by does not mean expiration. So if your milk says that it's best by today, it's still safe to drink tomorrow and the next day and the next day and probably the next day. But people have in their minds sometimes, this date passed. I can't consume it anymore. And they throw it away and it's perfectly good. That's food waste.
I've seen that happen. I've seen people do that,
It's not magical.
Trying to convince them it's a sell-by date, not a use-by date.
There's no bad milk fairy that comes in and touches it on that day and makes it bad.
Interesting video there. Bad food fairy.
Yeah. But the thing is, the city of Quincy we have amazing partners. And one of our partners actually is Spoonfuls, which does food rescue in a regional level. And they deliver to local food pantries throughout the South Shore.
Okay.
And they deliver food to us, even though we're rescuing. And oftentimes we have food excess that we got from a supermarket. We're able to give it to Spoonfuls.
Nice.
And then when they go to Salvation Army and QCAP and Germantown, they're able to give them some of that food. And we share that, we're all able to share that with each other. But these relationships that we're rescuing food, we didn't broker those. The Greater Boston Food Bank did.
Okay.
So it's a partnership where those, like Stop and Shop, Star Market, went to the Greater Boston Food Bank and said, we need this food rescued. And the Greater Boston Food Bank said, we have partners right near you. And they send us over to get it. And then we report back to the Greater Boston Food Bank how much food we rescued. So the Greater Boston Food Bank aggregates all that data and reports it back every year and says to Stop and Shop, we were able to rescue this many millions of pounds, but it's the food pantries at the grassroots level at the front line that are reporting that information back. So that's the ecosystem of emergency food.
Interesting. It's interesting the way the whole thing ties together. And
it's complicated.
It is,
There are some supermarkets that have really bad policies.
Okay.
And I'll give you a policy. There are some supermarkets, like let's say I'm just going to use like Braintree. There's a supermarket in Braintree, a brand, where they have meat that didn't sell. So they say, nope, we won't give it locally. We're going to ship it out to Western Massachusetts to our distribution facility. So that meat that would have been Best Buy 3 days, they throw it in the freezer, and then they ship it all the way back to Springfield. And then in Springfield, they look at that and they're like, okay, we have this extra food. And the Greater Boston Food Bank has to drive a truck all the way out to Springfield.
Oh, to get it?
And pick all of it up, and they bring it back to Dorchester.
Yep.
And then we go in, our food pantry goes and picks that food up from them and brings it back to distribute to our clients. So that Hamburg went from Quincy to Springfield to Boston to Quincy when it could have just stayed here.
Right.
So there's sometimes where there's policies where I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. But luckily that's not most places. Most places are very cognizant of that, keep it local, and allow us to keep food in the community to help hungry people.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. So the last thing I want to do is, you're talking about your volunteers. If anybody wants to volunteer or donate, how do they do that?
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you to anybody watching that helped support us during the SNAP crisis. That when the federal government, when there were, so many people didn't have their SNAP benefits, there was so much concern, so much anxiety, and people here in Quincy and throughout the area really kept things running.
Good.
And that was an opportunity for us as well to educate people, saying, because so many people wanted to do can drives.
Yeah.
And we were telling people, we don't need cans right now. What we need is money to buy milk and eggs and fresh fruit and vegetables. And so, and then the shelf stable items we really need all the time are cereal, pasta sauce, and rice.
Yep.
Always needed. So if people want to help out, they can donate those items, donate financially, talk to store managers, ask them who's picking up their food rescue. Also, when you're checking out at the supermarket and the person checking you out says, would you like to help hungry children in our community? Say, how are you helping hungry children? Where is this money going?
Yeah.
And find out. But then, so people can support in all of those ways.
Okay.
But volunteering is really big. We always need volunteers. But also, we always need donors to our thrift shop. Because the more people who donate to our thrift shop and shop in our thrift shop help to support our programs as well. So there's a lot of different ways that people can be involved. Or they can just follow us on social media.
Okay.
Like the things that we post, comment on them, share them. That's something that costs no money, and they can help raise awareness about all the things we're doing.
We've been putting up your website address. It's up right now, actually, and
Great.
and a phone number for you.
Yeah.
What other social media platforms are you on?
So we are on Instagram, we are on Facebook, we're on TikTok, we are on X, all the different platforms. Okay. Everything,
Get them all
you name
covered.
it, we're on it.
Okay.
Yep.
Good. So
I'm trying to remember the new one. Threads, we're on all of them.
There's so many new ones now. I can't keep track of them.
We're on LinkedIn, you name it. So it's really important, because not everybody has the ability to make a financial donation or to buy groceries at the supermarket and bring them in. But everybody can help share on social media and follow the things that we're doing and let more people know about it and build awareness.
That'll be good.
Yeah.
Good way that people can help. And
for sure.
Very simple and not a lot of effort.
And everybody's got a phone.
Yeah, true. Unfortunately sometimes, but yes. Yeah.
Well, there are people that might be watching this on their phone right now.
True. Yeah. Okay, that's all I have, Rick. Anything else that you'd like to bring up, or do you think we've covered everything? Or?
I think that we have covered it. I hope that people walk away knowing what food rescue is and what it isn't. And the ways that they can be involved.
Great. Okay, we're now at the end of this episode. I want to thank my guest Rick Doane of the Interfaith Social Services for talking with us today. And thank you for watching this episode. And I hope that you stay interested.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much, Rick.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, that's good.